My neighbor called 911 on a goose. No joke. I simply closed my ranch gate to stop people destroying my grass, and this HOA president went ballistic. There she was, designer pink suit, standing in mud, screaming that I'm violating her rights to trespass on my land. But wait, it gets crazier. While she's threatening lawsuits and organizing protests, she has absolutely no idea about one tiny detail that changes everything. I happen to know something about her finances that would flip this whole situation upside down. Trust me, you've never seen karma work this fast. Life on the ranch had been peaceful until recently. I'd invested my savings into Patriot Financial years ago. My wife was a financial advisor and taught me a thing or two about smart investments. After she passed, I received her life insurance payout and put it to work. On my kitchen table sat a folder labeled investment papers that I hadn't opened in weeks. Little did I know that folder would soon change everything. The trouble started when I noticed tire tracks across my pasture. Someone had been using my property as a shortcut, and they had torn up my grass pretty badly. After my livestock was stolen 3 years ago, I had invested $10,000 in an automatic gate with 4K cameras. Today was the day I finally decided to use it. I was in my workshop when I heard the commotion. Through my security monitor, I saw a hot pink Mercedes convertible stopped at my now-closed gate. The driver was laying on her horn like she was trying to wake the dead. I recognized her immediately. Patricia Morrison, the self-proclaimed supreme leader of Meadowfield Estates HOA, located 2 miles down the road. Let me be crystal clear about something. I am not part of any HOA. My ranch predates their entire subdivision by 50 years. Patricia had been using my property as her personal shortcut to the country club for months, and I'd finally had enough. I walked out to the gate, taking my sweet time. Patricia was already out of her car, wearing a blindingly pink business suit and designer heels that were sinking into the mud. "Open this gate immediately," she screamed, pointing a manicured finger at me through the bars. "I am the HOA president." I stayed calm, which seemed to infuriate her even more. "Ma'am, you're on private property. I'm not part of your HOA." Her face turned an impressive shade of purple. "I don't care. You can't block my road." That's when I noticed she'd set up a small tripod with her phone. Apparently, Karens these days come equipped with their own live streaming equipment. "This isn't your road, Patricia. This is my land. You've been trespassing for months, ruining my grass. The party's over." She started hitting my gate with her designer shoe, screaming, "I'll sue you. I'll put you in jail. You don't know who you're messing with." That's when Honk Norris made his grand entrance. My 20-pound Canadian goose heard the commotion and came running, wings spread wide, honking like a feathered air raid siren. Patricia's eyes went wide with terror. "Help me," she screamed into her phone. "This monster has a killer goose." She scrambled back to her car, trying to get behind the door while Honk Norris stood at the gate, head high, wings spread, looking like the apex predator he believed himself to be. The whole scene was being perfectly captured by her tripod. Patricia cowering behind her car door, mascara running down her face while my goose stood guard like a medieval sentinel. Within 48 hours, that video would have 2 million views with the title, "HOA President vs. Guard Goose." Patricia finally managed to get back in her car, but not before pointing at the camera with a shaking hand. Her mascara had created black rivers down her cheeks, and her perfect hair was now a tangled mess. "I know about the burial, Bob," she shrieked with wild eyes. "Wait until everyone sees what you're hiding." I stood there genuinely confused. "What burial? What are you talking about?" But she was already peeling out in reverse, leaving tire marks on my driveway and a cloud of dust in her wake. I looked at Honk Norris, who seemed quite pleased with himself. "Well, buddy," I said, scratching his head, "I think we just made an enemy." As I walked back to the house, I couldn't shake her words. What burial? What was she talking about? I didn't have any secrets on my property, or did I? Something about her threat felt different from her usual Karen nonsense. This felt calculated, planned. I had a sinking feeling this was just the beginning. That night, I pulled out the investment papers folder, figuring I should check on my finances in case Patricia actually tried to sue me. As I flipped through the quarterly reports, my phone buzzed with notifications. The video had gone viral. Comments were pouring in, "Team Goose. That Karen got what she deserved. Is the goose available for hire?" I couldn't help but smile. But Patricia's final words kept echoing in my mind. She'd looked absolutely unhinged. But there was something else in her eyes. A gleam of triumph, like she knew something I didn't. Tomorrow would bring answers, I figured. How wrong I was. Tomorrow would bring war. I gave Honk Norris an extra treat that night. Something told me I was going to need all the backup I could get. The next morning started with a bang, literally. At 6 a.m. sharp, someone was pounding on my gate so hard I thought they were trying to break it down. Through blurry eyes, I checked my security monitor and saw Patricia, still in a pink outfit, but a fresh one, attacking my gate with what appeared to be a bedazzled baseball bat. She'd brought her tripod again, of course. Day 2 of being terrorized by my neighbor, she screeched at her phone. Robert Henderson thinks he can imprison me with his illegal gate, but I have evidence of his crimes. I made myself coffee before heading out there. If she wanted to waste her energy on my reinforced steel gate, that was her business. By the time I strolled out, she'd worked herself into such a frenzy that her face matched her outfit. "Good morning, Patricia," I said pleasantly, which only made her angrier. "Don't you good morning me," she screamed. "I've been researching all night. This gate violates HOA regulations." I took a long sip of my coffee. "I'm not in your HOA. Everyone is subject to HOA authority. It's the law." I noticed she kept glancing at her phone, making sure she was getting all this on camera. "Patricia, I need you to understand something. My property line starts 10 feet behind this gate. You're currently trespassing while filming yourself committing vandalism. That's not smart." She laughed maniacally. "You think you're so clever, but I know your secret. I've already sent 47 emails to my lawyer about your illegal burial ground." I was genuinely starting to worry about her mental state. "Patricia, there's no burial ground. This is a ranch. The only things buried here are a few pets from over the years." But she wasn't listening. She was already marching back to her car, shouting over her shoulder, "Check your email, Bob. Check your email." I went back inside and opened my laptop. Sure enough, there were 47 emails from Patricia, all sent between 2 and 5 a.m. The subject lines were a journey into madness. "You can't hide the truth. I have proved the HOA knows everything." And my personal favorite, "Geese are not above the law." I was reading through her unhinged manifesto when my phone rang. It was Marcus Thompson, my buddy who worked as vice president at Patriot Financial. "Yo, Bob, you're going to want to sit down for this," Marcus said, and I could hear the grin in his voice. "Remember that investment fund you bought into? The one that purchases distressed mortgages?" My stomach flipped. "Yeah? Well, we just acquired a batch of non-performing loans to cut our losses. Guess whose name popped up? Patricia Morrison, 1,847 Meadowfield Drive. She owes 300 grand and hasn't made a payment in 6 months. I had to set my coffee down. "Wait, are you telling me that Patricia Morrison, the HOA president who's currently trying to destroy my gate, owes money to my investment fund?" Marcus laughed. "Better than that, buddy. You're our biggest investor in that fund. Technically, you own her debt. Want me to transfer the servicing rights to you?" I thought about Patricia's smug face, her threats, her 47 unhinged emails. "You know what, Marcus? Yes, I do. I'll email you the paperwork. Oh, and Bob, she's been trying to get loans from 5 other companies this week. All declined. Her credit score is somewhere between a dumpster fire and the Titanic." After I hung up, I sat there for a moment processing this information. Then I opened Patricia's latest email, which was just the word "guilty," typed 500 times. I hit reply and typed 3 words. "Check your mail." Within an hour, she was back at my gate. But this time, she wasn't attacking it. She was standing there holding the certified letter, her face cycling through emotions like a broken traffic light. "What is this?" she screamed at my camera. "You can't be my mortgage holder. It's a conflict of interest." I walked out slowly, savoring the moment. "Actually, Patricia, it's perfectly legal. You borrowed money, you didn't pay it back, and I bought the debt. That's how finance works. But I'm the HOA president, and I'm not in your HOA, remember? Now, according to these documents, you're 6 months behind on payments. You have 30 days to pay in full, or I'll have to begin foreclosure proceedings." Her phone clattered to the ground as she stared at me in shock. For the first time since I'd known her, Patricia Morrison was speechless. Well, for about 10 seconds. Then she exploded. "This is war, Bob Henderson. You think you're smart? I've already hired an investigator. They're going to expose everything about you and your illegal ranch." She picked up her phone, which was still recording, and pointed it at me. "Everyone watching, Bob Henderson is a predator who preys on innocent homeowners." I stayed calm. "Patricia, you borrowed money and didn't pay it back. That's not predatory, that's consequences." She was backing away toward her car, still ranting. "My daughter Ashley is a lawyer in California. She's going to destroy you." And my investigator found something very interesting about your property. As she drove away, I noticed she'd left her tripod behind in her panic. I picked it up and saw her phone was still live streaming. The comments section was brutal. Pay your bills, Karen. Team Bob. Is the goose single? I looked directly into the camera. Hey everyone, Bob here. Just want to clarify, I'm not trying to prey on anyone. Patricia took out a loan, didn't pay it for 6 months, and now she's mad that actions have consequences. Also, there's no burial ground. I think she might be confusing my property with a Stephen King novel. The viewer count was climbing rapidly. Before I ended the stream, I added, "Oh, and Patricia, your daughter Ashley called me Mr. Henderson last Christmas and apologized for your behavior. Just saying." I turned off the stream and headed back inside. Patricia had declared war, but she just handed me the ammunition. My phone buzzed with a text from Marcus. "Dude, you're trending. Also, her mortgage payment is due in 5 days. She's toast." I looked out at my peaceful ranch where Honk Norris was patrolling the fence line like a feathered soldier. Something told me the peace wouldn't last long. By day 3, my ranch had become a circus. Patricia had apparently hired what she called an investigation team, which turned out to be a 19-year-old kid named Dylan Brooks, who lived in his mom's basement and thought detective work meant flying drones and playing video games. I first noticed something was off when Honk Norris started honking like crazy. Around noon, I looked outside to see a $2,000 drone hovering over my chicken coop. Its camera pointed directly at my property. Through my security cameras, I could see Patricia and Dylan parked just outside my property line, huddled over a laptop in her pink Mercedes. "Fly it lower," Patricia was screeching. "We need to find the burial ground. Check behind the barn." Dylan, wearing a gaming headset and drinking what appeared to be his 4th energy drink, was sweating profusely. "Mrs. M, I keep telling you, flying this low is technically illegal. I don't pay you to think, I pay you to find evidence." I decided to let them dig their own hole, but Honk Norris had other plans. My guardian goose spotted the drone and apparently decided it was the world's largest, most expensive fly. What happened next was captured in glorious 4K by my security cameras. Honk Norris took a running start, spread his wings, and launched himself into the air like a feathered missile. The drone tried to climb higher, but it was too late. 20 pounds of angry Canadian goose met $2,000 of Chinese technology, and the goose won. The drone spiraled out of control, bounced off my roof, and crashed directly into my pond with a splash that probably registered on seismographs. Dylan's scream could be heard from my kitchen. "My friend's drone that was borrowed. I'm dead." Patricia, meanwhile, was filming the whole thing on her phone. "Assault. That goose assaulted our investigation equipment." I walked out calmly, Honk Norris waddling beside me like a proud warrior returning from battle. "Afternoon, Patricia. Lose something?" Dylan was near tears. "Dude, that drone wasn't mine. I borrowed it from my buddy. It cost $2,000. Patricia smacked him on the head. "Shut up. This is perfect evidence of Bob's violent animals." She pointed her phone at me. "You're going to pay for that drone." I smiled. "Actually, Patricia, your investigator just committed a federal crime. Flying a drone over private property for surveillance is illegal. I have it all on camera, including you ordering him to do it." Dylan's face went white. "Federal crime? Mrs. M, you said this was totally legal." Patricia tried to salvage the situation. "We were investigating a burial ground. It's a public service." "What burial ground?" I asked for the 100th time. "The one I know exists. My sources confirmed it." "What sources, Patricia?" She clutched her phone tighter. "That's confidential investigator information." Dylan, meanwhile, was backing away slowly. "Yo, Mrs. M, I'm out. You still owe me $500 for yesterday, plus $2,000 for the drone." "I'm not paying for your incompetence," Patricia screamed. Dylan pulled out his own phone and started recording. "Oh really? Because I have 3 hours of footage of you promising to pay me double if I found dirt on Bob." He looked at me. "Sorry, Mr. Henderson. She said you were hiding bodies or something. I just needed the money for a new gaming rig." The situation was spiraling beautifully. I decided to add fuel to the fire. "Dylan, did Patricia tell you she's 6 months behind on her mortgage? The one I now own?" Dylan's eyes widened. "Wait, what?" I pulled out my phone and showed him the paperwork. "Yep, she owes $300,000 and hasn't made a payment since January. Still want to wait for that 500? Dylan looked at Patricia with newfound understanding. "You know what? I'm posting all this footage online. 3 hours of you screaming about fake burial grounds and ordering me to break federal laws. My followers are going to love this." Patricia lunged for his phone, but Dylan was quicker. He jogged to his beat-up Honda Civic, still filming. "Investigating Karen's Gone Wrong Part 1, he shouted as he drove away. Patricia stood there, hair disheveled, pink suit covered in mud from chasing Dylan, looking like she'd just gone 10 rounds with reality and lost. That's when we heard the honking from the pond. Honk Norris was doing victory laps around the floating drone carcass, occasionally pecking at it to make sure it was truly dead. "Your goose is a menace," Patricia sputtered. "My goose is a hero," I countered. "He just stopped illegal surveillance of my property. I should get him a medal." "This isn't over," she screamed, stomping back to her car. "My daughter Ashley is flying in from California. She's a senior paralegal." "I thought you said she was a lawyer." Patricia's face flushed. "She's practically a lawyer, and she's going to destroy you." Just then, my phone rang. It was Marcus. "Bob, you're not going to believe this. Patricia just tried to take out a $50,000 cash advance on her credit cards. All declined. She also applied for 6 personal loans in the last hour. All rejected. Her credit score just hit double digits." I put him on speaker so Patricia could hear. "Thanks for the update, Marcus. How many days until her next payment is due?" 25 days, buddy. Tick-tock." Patricia's scream of rage probably scared birds 3 counties over. As she peeled out, she yelled out her window, "I'm hiring the best lawyer in Texas. You hear me? The ranch killer's coming for you." After she left, I walked over to the pond where Honk Norris was still celebrating his victory. Using a pool net, I fished out the drone and found Dylan's business card taped to it. Kid Karen, freelance investigator, gamer, content creator. That evening, I was enjoying a peaceful dinner when my phone buzzed. Dylan had already posted his video. "Crazy Ho Karen hired me to spy. Goose attack drone gone wrong." It had 100,000 views in 2 hours. The comments were gold. "That goose is the real MVP. Patricia needs therapy, not a lawyer. I'm starting a Honk Norris fan club." But the best part was Ashley Morrison's comment. "Mom, I'm flying home tomorrow. Please stop this before you make things worse." Patricia's reply. "My own daughter is a traitor, just like your father." I sat back and smiled. Patricia thought she was escalating things, but all she was doing was digging her own grave. And the best part? She still had no idea what was coming. I refreshed the mortgage documents on my computer. 25 days and counting. The war was just beginning. But I had a secret weapon Patricia hadn't counted on. Patience, legal rights, and a goose named Honk Norris. The next morning, I woke up to find a luxury car parked outside my gate. License plate reading Winner 100. Standing beside it was a man in an expensive suit that looked like it cost more than most people's cars. And next to him was Patricia, practically vibrating with excitement. The man was Randy Sterling, who Patricia had introduced on her latest live stream as the Ranch Killer, supposedly the best lawyer in Texas with a perfect record. I did a quick online search while making my coffee. Turns out Randy Sterling wasn't even a real lawyer. He was a paralegal who'd been fired from 3 firms for pretending to be an attorney. His perfect record was 0 wins, 45 losses, all in small claims court. But Patricia had apparently paid him $5,000 cash, likely her last savings from an early 401k withdrawal, judging by the penalty paperwork Marcus had forwarded me yesterday. I walked out to meet them, bringing Honk Norris for moral support. Randy puffed up his chest and spoke in what he probably thought was an intimidating voice. "Mr. Henderson, I'm Randy Sterling, attorney at law. My client has hired me to address your illegal harassment and weaponized livestock." I couldn't help but smile. "First, you're not an attorney. You're a paralegal who got fired from Johnson & Associates last year for lying about your credentials. Second, weaponized livestock isn't a real legal term." Randy's face went pale, but Patricia didn't notice. She was too busy setting up her tripod. "Don't listen to his lies, Randy. Show him the evidence." Randy fumbled with his laptop, trying to maintain his composure. "I have here video evidence of you threatening my client." He turned the screen toward me, showing a heavily edited video where my words were clearly spliced together to make it sound like I was threatening Patricia. "Dylan Brooks made this for you, didn't he?" I asked. Randy's eye twitched. That's irrelevant. This evidence clearly shows. It clearly shows copyright infringement, since that's footage from my security cameras edited without permission and manipulated to create false evidence. That's a felony, Randy. Or should I call you Randall Steinberg, which is your real name according to the State Bar website where you're listed as suspended from practice? Patricia's face was turning purple. "Randy, you said you never lose." "I don't," Randy squeaked. I haven't. This is just a minor setback." That's when El Diablo decided to make his entrance. My prize rooster, all 8 pounds of feathered fury, came strutting around the corner of the house. He took one look at Randy's shiny shoes and apparently decided they were a threat to his territory. What happened next was pure poetic justice. Randy tried to show more evidence on his laptop, stepping onto my property without permission to get closer to my security camera. El Diablo saw this as an act of war. With a crow that could wake the dead, my rooster launched himself at Randy, spurs first. "Get it off! Get it off!" Randy screamed, dropping his laptop and running in circles. Patricia tried to film it, but she was laughing too hard at the sight of her ranch killer being chased by a chicken. The laptop hit the ground hard, popping open to reveal all the fake evidence files labeled things like Fake Video 1 and Edited Photo Show Client. I calmly picked up the laptop while Randy continued his dance with El Diablo. "Patricia, your lawyer just committed trespassing, attempted fraud, and evidence tampering, all caught on my security cameras." Randy finally made it back to his car. His expensive suit now featured several artistic tears courtesy of El Diablo's spurs. "I quit," he screamed at Patricia. "You're crazy, your case is insane, and I'm keeping the $5,000 for pain and suffering." "You can't quit. I paid you," Patricia screeched. "Sue me," Randy yelled back, peeling out in his luxury car that I now suspected was a rental. Patricia stood there, mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. That's when a familiar car pulled up. Ashley Morrison had arrived from California. She stepped out, looking professional in business attire, took one look at the scene, her mother in a mud-stained pink suit, me holding a laptop full of fraudulent evidence, and El Diablo strutting around like he just won a heavyweight championship, and sighed deeply. "Mom," Ashley said quietly, "what have you done now? Your timing is perfect." Patricia grabbed her daughter's arm. "You can represent me. You're a lawyer. I'm a paralegal, Mom, and I work in copyright law, not whatever this is." Ashley looked at me apologetically. "Mr. Henderson, I mean Bob, I'm so sorry about all this." Patricia's face contorted with rage. "Mr. Henderson? You're supposed to call him the defendant." Ashley pulled out her phone and showed her mother something that made Patricia go white. "Mom, I've been watching your live streams. Do you know what you've confessed to? Trespassing, harassment, hiring someone to commit federal crimes with a drone, and now evidence tampering. And you've broadcast all of it to thousands of people. But he's hiding a burial ground," Patricia protested weakly. Ashley turned to me. "Is there any burial ground on your property? Just a small pet cemetery from the past 80 years. 3 dogs, 2 cats, and a goldfish named Mr. Bubbles. All properly marked and completely legal." Ashley nodded and turned back to her mother. "Mom, you're having an episode. Remember what Dr. Patterson said about your need for control manifesting as paranoid delusions?" "I'm not delusional," Patricia screamed. "Bob Henderson is trying to steal my house." "Actually," I interjected, "you're stealing it from yourself by not paying your mortgage for 6 months. Ashley's eyes widened. 6 months? "Mom, you told me you were caught up on all your bills." That's when Patricia completely lost it. She grabbed Ashley's phone and started live streaming from her daughter's account. "Everyone needs to know the truth. My own daughter is a traitor. She's probably sleeping with Bob. That's why she's taking his side." Ashley's face went from concerned to furious. "Mother, how dare you? I'm trying to help you." She grabbed the phone back and looked directly into the camera. "I'm Ashley Morrison, Patricia's daughter. My mother is not well. She's stolen $15,000 from the HOA fund to pay for this insane vendetta. I have the receipts right here." She held up her phone showing bank statements. "I'm sorry to everyone she's hurt, especially Mr. Henderson, who's just trying to live peacefully on his ranch." The live stream comments exploded. Patricia tried to grab the phone back, but Ashley held firm. "Mom, you need help, and you need to pay back the HOA." Patricia's scream of rage could probably be heard in the next county. "After everything I've done for you, I raised you, I gave you everything. You gave me anxiety and trust issues," Ashley replied calmly, "and now you're giving me secondhand embarrassment. Mr. Henderson, how many days does she have to pay?" 20 days, I replied. "Thank you, Mom. We're going home now." As they drove away, I could hear them arguing. Patricia was screaming about betrayal and conspiracies, while Ashley was trying to talk sense into her. I looked down at El Diablo, who was pecking at Randy's dropped business card. "Good work, buddy. Extra corn for you tonight." That evening, I got a call from Dorothy Baker, the neighbor who'd been leading the charge against Patricia at the HOA. "Bob, I just wanted to say thank you. We had an emergency HOA meeting and Patricia has been officially removed as president, 47 to 1 vote," She was the one. I smiled. Who's the new president? We voted to dissolve the board entirely. Turns out nobody actually wanted an HOA except Patricia. After I hung up, I noticed Patricia had posted one final live stream from her house. She was sitting in what looked like a bunker made of legal books with crazy eyes and her hair sticking up in all directions. "Tomorrow is war," she whispered to the camera. "I have the ultimate evidence. Bob Henderson will rue the day he crossed Patricia Morrison. Everyone will see the truth." The video cut to black, and then text appeared. "Operation Destroy Bob, uploading tomorrow." I shook my head and went to bed. Whatever Patricia had planned, I was ready for it. How bad could it possibly be? The courthouse was absolutely packed. Word had spread about the HOA Karen versus Goose Rancher case, and apparently half of Texas wanted to witness what the local news was calling the trial of the century, or at least the week. Patricia arrived in what could only be described as her final form, wearing a bright yellow chicken costume complete with feathers and a beak. Her strategy, as she loudly announced to anyone who would listen, was to show the judge what it feels like to be victimized by poultry. Randy Sterling had refused to represent her after the El Diablo incident, so Patricia was representing herself. She'd set up a full presentation with a projector and everything, ready to present her evidence. Judge Harrison took one look at her outfit and sighed deeply. "Miss Morrison, this is a court of law, not a costume party. Please remove that outfit." Patricia stood defiantly. "This is my statement about the terrorism I've faced from Bob Henderson's trained attack birds. I have the right to express myself." "You have the right to be held in contempt if you don't follow court protocol," the judge replied dryly. Patricia tried to remove the costume, but the zipper was stuck. For 5 excruciating minutes, the entire courtroom watched as she struggled with the chicken suit, feathers flying everywhere. Finally, a bailiff had to help cut her out with scissors. Underneath, she wore a wrinkled pink t-shirt that said, "Justice for Patricia," in glitter pen. The gallery was packed with familiar faces: Dorothy Baker and the former HOA board, Ashley looking mortified in the back row, Dylan Brooks live streaming everything, and Marcus there for moral support. The hashtag number, #ChickenSuitKaren, was already trending. Patricia began her opening statement, which was essentially 40 minutes of advanced rambling about burial grounds, the Illuminati, and how I had trained my goose in advanced military tactics. "Your Honor," she screeched, clicking through her PowerPoint presentation, "I present exhibits A through ZZZ, 437 instances of Bob Henderson's terrorism." The slides were a journey into madness. Blurry photos of me grocery shopping labeled "Suspect Buying Poison," pictures of Honk Norris labeled "Weapon of Mass Destruction," and even a photo of my late wife's gravestone marked "Evidence of Burial Experience." That last one made me see red, but I kept my composure. When it was my turn, I simply stood up and said, "Your Honor, I'd like to present my evidence." I had Ashley and Dylan come forward as witnesses. Dylan testified about how Patricia had paid him to create fake evidence. Ashley, fighting back tears, testified about her mother's mental state and the stolen HOA funds. Then I presented my compilation video. Every single live stream Patricia had made, every threat, every trespass, every false accusation, all edited together chronologically. The courtroom watched in stunned silence as 3 months of Patricia's descent into madness played out on screen. But the real kicker came when I presented the mortgage documents. "Your Honor, Miss Morrison has spent over $30,000 on lawyers, investigators, and protests against me. She's stolen $15,000 from the HOA fund. She's liquidated her $401K with massive penalties, all while being 6 months behind on her mortgage that I legally own. She could have paid her debt 3 times over with what she spent trying to destroy me." Patricia exploded. "You set me up. This was all a conspiracy to steal my house." She jumped on the defendant's table. "I declare sovereignty. This court has no jurisdiction over a sovereign citizen." The judge banged his gavel. "Miss Morrison, get down immediately." But Patricia was in full meltdown mode. "The goose made me do it. Don't you understand? The goose is the mastermind." The courtroom camera caught her wild-eyed declaration from 3 different angles as people held up their phones. She tried to run for the exit, but tripped over scattered chicken feathers from her costume, falling flat on her face. As bailiffs helped her up, she pointed at me and screamed, "You'll pay for this, Bob Henderson. I'll get you and your little goose too." The judge had seen enough. "I've been on the bench for 30 years, and this is absolutely the most frivolous, ridiculous waste of the court's time I have ever witnessed." He looked at Patricia, who was now being held by 2 bailiffs. Miss Morrison, your claims are not just baseless, they're delusional. You've admitted on camera to trespassing, harassment, theft, and attempted fraud. He turned to me. Mr. Henderson, your foreclosure claim is valid. Miss Morrison has 15 days to vacate the property. Then he looked back at Patricia. Furthermore, you're ordered to pay all of Mr. Henderson's legal fees, return the stolen HOA funds immediately, and seek professional mental health treatment. And if I see you in my courtroom again with anything resembling this nonsense, you'll be held in contempt. Patricia's final meltdown was spectacular. You're all paid actors. This whole town is a set. The geese are watching. They're always watching. As they led her away, still screaming about conspiracies, Ashley approached me with tears streaming down her face. I'm so sorry, Mr. Henderson. She wasn't always like this. She used to be a good mom, just controlling. But after Dad left and she lost her job, something broke inside her. I put a hand on her shoulder. Your mom needs help, Ashley. This isn't your fault. The media circus outside was intense, but what stuck with me was Ashley's words about her mother not always being like this. Mental illness was no joke, and while Patricia had made her own choices, she clearly needed help more than punishment. 3 months later, Ashley called with an update. Mom's in therapy and working at a furniture store under a different name. She finally acknowledged what she did was wrong. She wanted me to give you this. It was a handwritten note. Bob, I lost everything because I couldn't accept you had the right to close your own gate. I let my need for control turn me into everything I claimed to fight against. I'm sorry. Also, your goose is still evil, but I probably deserved it, Patricia. I smiled, looking out at my peaceful ranch where Honk Norris was patrolling the fence line. Sometimes the best revenge really is just living your life and letting karma handle the rest. The gate was strong, the mortgage was paid, and somewhere in Austin, Patricia Morrison was learning to mind her own business, one day at a time.